Yeah, no worries. All right, so we got who we got over here? Man, we got a lot of people here already. What's up, Jay? We got Dimitri, Shahid, we got Justin, Reno, Robio. Let's see who else. DRGT, Storts, Kyle, Terencio, KS, Yehoram, Susanna, Tim, Raiwaya. Susanna, what is up, peeps? Cool, man. So we got Richard Hart with us. What is up, brother? How are you?
Doing all right. We just broke over trendline resistance in Bitcoin, so we had a nice, very, very, very clear, well-respected line holding us down, and
That's cool.
we broke through it, and we're holding over it. And I was concerned that there was way too many longs because we were coming near. We're at like 222-day high longs on Finex, and that means that they have to close their position at some point because their funding could just get not renewed, or it could become too expensive. So in the last 4 hours, we had 5,500 longs close, 5,500 Bitcoin of longs close, and 4,000 Bitcoins of shorts close. So that's a little more bullish because we're still holding over the trend line after we dropped off the 4,000 longs that helped us get up there. So I still think we're, in a bear market and it's going to be choppy. And this whole rally was led by Ethereum anyway. So Ethereum's up like 20% today, and Bitcoin's up about half that. So it's, at least it's bullish. If you can break down trend lines and stay over them, that's all you can ask for.
You put a lot of stake in like the Mayer multiple.
No.
A lot of people point at that, 200 moving day average and stuff like that. Now they're like 1400 day moving average, and
Yeah. I
we keep
mean,
blowing the lines, and it's like 0.69 right now or something.
I don't put a lot of faith in that particular. It's just a sanity check, right? Like all it does is say, how expensive or cheap are we now compared to the last 200 days? That's all it is, right?
Right.
So there's no if the most clear and analog and highest resolution thing you can look at is just the shape of the chart, right? And then when you just start putting indicators on it to try and influence your bias, it's a little risky unless everyone's looking at the exact same one, and then it's less risky, right? It's like a
Yeah.
Schelling point. So a Schelling point is when if you get lost in New York and somebody says, okay, if your friend got lost in New York and you both got lost in New York, and neither of you had any idea how to find each other again, what would you do to try and find each other? And everyone just says they would meet at noon at Grand Central Station, just automatically, right? We just all assume this is what other people would say, like a Keynesian beauty contest. You're not choosing the most beautiful girl, you're choosing the girl that you think most other people would choose as the most beautiful, right? So price lines on a chart are kind of the same thing. The more people that are looking at the same line, it's more obvious what's bullish and what's bearish.
What do you think about Ethereum, man? Like you said, it's up 20% today. Who do you think's moving or playing around in the market? You think got a couple whales splashing around?
Well,
Yeah.
you've got this fork coming up, and anytime there's a fork, there's a chance that you end up with two coins instead of one, and there's a chance that you end up with new features that you didn't have before. So Bitcoin was bullish into the SegWit fork, which is a soft fork. I think Constantinople in Ethereum is a hard fork, but their forks are just easier. They have less drama. They have a more friendly community. So the the most reasonable reason for this current pump in Ethereum is upcoming fork stuff, in my
You don't think
opinion.
it's going to be the next Ethereum SV?
It's unlikely. It didn't work out well for the last guys with Ethereum Classic, so it's no one really wants to get beat up on another failed fork.
Exactly. Yeah, I actually just got back, man. I've been in Seattle since Friday for the Neo DevCon. So I don't know what your thoughts on Neo and Ontology are, but it was pretty cool, man, to hear all the different things that they're doing, and to actually I interviewed about 20 people on the team, everybody from the city of Zion to Da Hong Fei. The community asked me to cover Neo. I've always been kind of a fan of Ontology, but I've always been a little bit skeptical of Neo. So, anyways, they asked me to go up there and cover it. So I went up there and got just a ton of footage and coverage from, right from the horse's mouth from everybody. So I was just kind of curious what your thoughts on Neo, might be.
Oh, you're gonna love my thoughts. I know absolutely nothing about it at all.
All
Nothing.
right.
So
They
what
call
I
it the
know
Chinese
is what I know
Ethereum
is they have
killer.
a hybrid model where you can kind of get reward for holding by getting paid gas, and so they have like a two token model. and that's about it. That's the only interesting thing to know about that. Isn't it like ETH, but Singaporean ETH or something? Something along
Pretty
those
much.
lines?
Yeah, it's funny, like I asked Da, I'm like, hey man, so what is the difference between, basically Neo and Ethereum, right? So I'll release the interview once we edit it and all that kind of stuff. But anyways, he talks about, it's more about, his vision and kind of the community. And but basically, you got see, why is the name fault tolerance? So DBFT is Neo, and then VBFT I think is ontology. So the real difference, I guess, between Neo, like he was saying, and Ethereum is kind of like the community and their overall vision. He calls it pragmatic idealism. That's so basically, at the end of the day, it's just like looking at things like a common sense approach to tackling hard issues, and just being realistic in the terms of how long it's going to take him to do it. That was kind of like his overall thing, especially in his speech. It's like his rally cry at the end was, basically we're just gonna, try and have a common sense approach to this, and it'll be ready when it's ready. So, but yeah, his they've got what do they got? It's very similar to Ethereum, and ontology is extremely similar to Neo. Matter of fact, if I built the Monarch wallet, right? So we'll add NP5 support, but the funny thing is Neo and ontology, it generates the keys and everything the exact same way. The only real
Do they have any other standards named after weapons? Do they have an AR-15 token?
Yeah, I don't know. They'll probably have some. But the only real difference that I saw between ontology and Neo was the consensus, mechanism, where they basically have, more than 7 consensus nodes like they do with Neo. They have more nodes on ontology, and they pick them in a randomized way, kind of like Orbs does. So there's that, and then there's a different fee structure. So, because like with Neo, it's 500 gas, man, to launch a smart contract, and that's super expensive, man. And they're like, well, it's cheap now. I'm like, yeah, it's because your token, your coins are really cheap right now. So, as soon as if there was a spike in the price, it's going to cost, another 10, 15 grand to launch a smart contract. How do you compete with Ethereum when it's so cheap, right? So V3, they say in 2020 or something like that's supposed to fix that. So we shall see.
I'm nearly. I don't care about smart contracts for the most part. So I have this very simple belief. Okay, it's simple because I understand it. It's probably not simple for you guys that don't understand it yet, but I'll try. In my mind, the only thing that crypto does is trustlessness and game theory. Everything else is worse. The throughput is worse. The fees are worse. The uptime's worse. Sometimes blocks are just full. The data security is actually worse because if there's a fork, well, which fork's the real one and which one has the data that you thought you'd have, right? And sometimes what you just wrote to a block got orphaned. And now you have to constantly check to see whether your blocks that you've written got orphaned or reorged or not. This is all garbage, right? So if you're going to pay all of these extremely high prices and convenience problems for the thing, you got to really need the thing. So you need trustlessness, you need censorship resistance, and you need some game theory to make anyone want to endure this horror, right? So let's look at smart contracts. What can a smart contract do? Well, if it stays in the same system, a smart contract can do time locking. It can do, conditional statements, right? Like multi-sig. If this guy and this guy and this guy say yes, then send the transaction, right? And we have those in Bitcoin. Now, are these things that interesting? Not really. The vast 90+% of users do not use these features. They're not even available on the wallet. Your wallet probably does not have a multi-sig feature. Your wallet probably does not have a time locking feature. I don't even know of a wallet off the top of my head that does have that at all, right? So these are features almost... no one... Well, that's not even new. Just no one cares. I mean, this has been around for years.
People... Yeah, see, that's the thing, too, like with signing transactions and stuff like that. People want something... They want that centralized experience. They want something that's just better, faster, cheaper, right? They really don't care that it's decentralized, that it's blockchain. But, for some of us, we really do because, I know that you think that blockchain is basically just for a store of value and basically a way to send and receive value and things like that. But I see some real needs for it. I mean, like with the smart contracts, I know that I agree with everything that you're saying. It's like looking at the internet 10 years ago. It sucked, right? And if we just stayed that way, we wouldn't have all the, like what we're doing right now, right? So it's going to get better. And right now it does suck for sure. But can you imagine, like right now we're both talking, on YouTube. Now, if this was on the blockchain, it would suck currently, right?
Yeah.
But there's a way. I mean, just look at DTube, right? It's horrible. But imagine like if YouTube like pulls an Alex Jones on us, right? And then we
Right.
lose every single person that's subscribed to us. If there's a way to like put that on a solid blockchain that is secure, all of our users, all of our subscriptions, all that kind of stuff right there would be there forever. They couldn't take that from us even if they took our channel down. So you could have the videos on a centralized solution, so it's super fast. But all of our data, the stuff that's important to us, being able to connect with our audience,
I agree
would
with
be
that.
there forever. So
Well,
stuff
yeah,
like
you did the smart thing. You took the censorship resistance that you needed, you put that on the chain, and then you took the giving of the videos and you put that off the chain, right? And then you could just reference them wherever they happen to be. That's smart. So my point of smart contracts is, if you're staying digital to digital, they're amazing. If you're touching the real world and you have to trust someone to digitize the real world and tell the contract what's going on, they just lie to the contract. So you might as well just have that guy run everything, since you trust him anyway, and let him do it in SQL.
But in the beginning, when you set up a smart contract, there's parameters, right? And both people have to agree to them in the beginning. And then once they're agreed to, then they stay that way forever. So if that person dies, you don't have to worry about it 20 years, 30 years, 100 years, like a deed, for instance. Two people come together in the
Well,
beginning.
if he died, he can't update. If he died, he can't tell you what the price is anymore, right? So
Well, I'm
hold
just
on.
thinking about this more in terms of like, like with land, like land on the blockchain, something like that, right? So
It can't
like
work.
in another country, you could, when you guys come together in the beginning, you set the parameters, you agree to what you own, and it's there forever. If people die,
It's
people can
not,
still
because
use their
sometimes land gets sucked into the ocean. Let me give you an example. Totally honest actors, okay? Totally honest actors. You make a smart contract. It's just gonna tell people the price of the stock closing on the New York Stock Exchange, right? It totally trustless Oracle. You love the guy, he's great. Guess what? Sometimes the New York Stock Exchange publishes bad data.
Sure.
They have to change it. So even though everyone was as honest as could possibly be, the system still failed and still had to be rolled back, because measuring real things in the real world is really hard.
Yeah.
So it's
No,
like,
I agree with you, man. I'm not disagreeing with you. There's going to be issues, but I think that there is some real value there too. But
well, I'm using a
they're
smart contract, but I'm just staying in the whole digital world. I'm not touching analog. So it works wonderfully for that.
Yeah, it's actually, pretty, for people that know me, I love to just give back, right? So, it's like the Monarch wallet's free. I give away $100 in every single video. So like right now, what you and I are talking on, I'll give away $100 on this, give away 250.
You guys should watch
to
his
2
channel, not
people.
mine, because he's giving away money. I'm not giving you guys shit. He's streaming this too on his channel.
I'm telling you, man, it is really cool, for me to be able to give back. Like, when you've got like a Monarch wallet, and you got people in Venezuela, they win $100 and they're able to buy and sell, be able to just, have commerce with people, man. That's pretty sweet. When I get those videos and those photos back, it, to me, it lets me know I'm doing something right, and at least affecting, somebody. So, it's cool just to kind of give back. $100 to me is no big deal. So we do that on every single one of these videos. The Monarch wallet just keeps getting better and better. And so with you giving away, Bitcoin Hex, dude, that's awesome, right? So, basically people that, hold Bitcoin at your snapshot, then they'll actually get Bitcoin Hex. And so we've had a little bit of confusion in the community. They've had some questions about, if I sign these transactions, like what is signing these transactions? Like most wallets don't have this. And it's kind of an old school feature from like 2014, 15 is when it was kind of prominent, basically just verifying that you own the address that you say you do, right? So, they're saying, is he going to steal my Bitcoin? I'm like, no, it's just making sure that you own the actual address. And, they're still a little iffy. So I think it's really cool that you're giving away, whether you want to say that you don't give people shit, well, you are.
I guess
So
I am.
you're giving away Bitcoin Hex, which, hey, one day could be worth, obviously it's going to be worth more than what they have right now, right? Because right now they have nothing. So if you give them something, maybe it'll be worth something, who knows?
Yeah.
But it's cool that you're doing it. So obviously, I'll try to support it any way I can. Adding the signing feature to Monarch, like we're adding interest to it this week with Celsius, Alec Mashinsky, the creator of VoIP. So we have to do that. And then we're adding our exchange the following week. And I want to add the signing transaction, like I told you, but I have the prior commitments. I have to get out first.
I mean, we've got
do everything I can to. I'll do everything I can to get it out there for you, but I just want people to know what you're doing and let them know that it's safe, to sign a transaction and maybe walk them through it.
So let me tell you how people can steal your money, and then just don't do those things, right? So if someone wants to steal your money, they can get you to double click an exe file. How can they do that? Well, they can tell you that you need to download this wallet to claim some fork. And then you download the wallet, and then you double click the exe, and it just steals all your keys. And then it just sits in your computer forever and waits for you to get more money, right? It's called an advanced persistent threat. So don't double click exes that you just download off the internet, right? Well, what's another way you can lose all your money? You can download the correct wallet, but it's a fake file, right? So instead of downloading the real Electrum wallet, which in my opinion is the best open source Bitcoin wallet, instead of downloading the real one, you Google it and you get a fake website, either because you've already got malware on your computer serving you ads in the place of real links, right? So if you've already got malware on your computer, adware, that's serving you ads, the bad people, the evil people, they buy an ad off those guys to serve you a fake Electrum wallet, right? So first, you got to make sure you're on the real Electrum website, download the real Electrum wallet, right? Now, if you've already got a wallet that works, you don't have to do any of this, right? So if you've already got Bitcoin Core or an Electrum from way back when, or Coinomi, or a lot of other different wallets that can sign, you don't have to download anything, right? And you don't have to be on the internet either. So if you're not on the internet, nothing can steal your keys because they can't get them out, right? The hacker is far away from you physically, and he needs to transport those keys out of your computer to him. And in order for him to do that, you need to be online. So first, when you're signing a statement, you don't have to be online at all. Doesn't have to be online. You can sign it offline, copy paste the text, or type the text yourself, right? It's going to be hard. You're going to have capitals and all that stuff, right? You can take a picture of it and OCR it. I wouldn't suggest doing that. I guess it doesn't matter. So no one can do anything with your signature. So if you say claim Bitcoin hex to your Ethereum address, no one can do anything with that. It's useless to them, right? It's just like telling you, it's like telling you my address. If I told you my address, you couldn't impersonate me. You just know my address, right? So the risk to signing transactions.
Why couldn't Craig Wright do it?
Well, I mean, he's good at elliptic curve cryptography. It's maybe the only thing he's good at. And he knows how to make something that looks real but isn't, right? So I'm not going to explain the whole thing, but there's tricky ways that you can falsely make statements and only a smart person realizes that you were false about them, right? So if someone chooses what they're signing, they can screw with you. But if you choose what they sign, they can't screw with you. So it's irrelevant to you guys signing, right? So the point is, as long as what you sign in your wallet is a simple statement that you understand, you cannot possibly lose money. That's why it's a feature built into your wallet. The guys that built the wallet that you use, that you trust with your private keys, also gave you a feature to sign statements. They didn't do that because it was easy to lose money. They did that because it's useful and it's safe. The only way that you would lose money by signing something in your Bitcoin wallet ever is if you signed a really long, really complex, weird-looking statement that actually decoded to a Bitcoin transaction, right? So if you're signing something that's simple text, there's absolutely no possible way to lose money signing a statement. And you don't have to do it online.
All right, yeah, because a lot of people would ask, why can't we just go to a website and just register our address and our email and they'll just notify us, So
well, the reason for that, I could tell you exactly why that is because you would fill up the blockchain for days, sending everyone free money to their addresses, and it would cost a lot of money to do that. So you'd bring the network down, and it would be very expensive for whoever was doing it to give away free money to everyone. Using this system, when you let people claim with a signature, it takes up very, very little space in the blockchain, and they pay for their own claim. Or in this system, we have it so that anyone can pay for anyone else's claim. So if a nice person wants to pay for your claim, if they saw that you submitted it and you didn't have any gas to pay for it, they could do it for you. They could retransmit it for you. And that's only on the claim function. That's not on starting a stake or ending a stake or anything like that. So the point is, in a blockchain, if you get, I've got 100 new users in the Telegram group every day. We get more new users in the Bitcoin Hex Telegram group than Bitcoin gets. We get more new memes in our memes channel than Bitcoin gets every day. So if we wanted to airdrop the tens of thousands of users we're likely to have, our mailing list has 15,000 on it now, I guess 14,000 something. it would be, let's say it's 30 cents a transaction, right? That's like $5,000 to send everyone their money, and all the blocks are filled up. It's like, I don't know. I think we're gonna get a lot more claims than that. I think we're gonna get a lot of claims once the demos are out, and once the shield program's up, and everyone's making 20% on referral links for just putting their Ethereum address at the end of the URL. So you can't do that old school way of just, we'll airdrop you. You can't do it at scale, and you can't do it trustlessly. Because why doesn't that guy just send his buddy money, right? The guy that's like sending the money out because you gave your email address to some system. And by the way, doesn't that ruin your privacy? Like in our system, you don't have to give an email address. You don't have to get anything. It's trustless, right? Like, I don't care what your email is. I don't care what your IP is. I don't care what your name is. I don't care where you live. None of those things, right?
Cool stuff, man. So do you want to kind of walk people through how it works exactly for some
Sure.
people that don't know?
Yeah. So if you go to bitcoinhex.com and you just scroll down to the very bottom, which is I just did on my browser here, you'll see this little thing that says how to claim. And you install MetaMask in your browser so that you have an Ethereum address, which is where your Bitcoin Hex lives. It lives in your Ethereum address. And then you go to the claim tool, which is going to be like claim.bitcoinhex.com. It's not up yet. You tell it your Bitcoin address, right? You go in your Bitcoin wallet, you copy your Bitcoin address, you paste it into the claim tool, you click generate signature, it gives you a signature. It's basically going to say claim Bitcoin Hex to the address that you just pasted it. You're going to copy that, you're going to paste it in your Bitcoin wallet. You're going to go to sign, you're going to choose that address, you're going to click sign, you're going to click copy, you're going to click paste, you're going to click submit, and that's it, you're done. So you're literally going to the site, you're installing MetaMask, you're going to the site, you're pasting your Bitcoin address, you're asking it to make you something to sign, you're copying it, pasting it, signing it, copying and pasting it, done. So you're copy pasting your address, copy pasting a SIG, copy pasting the output, and you're finished.
And then so, not to break it down into Satoshis, but for basically every Bitcoin, how many, Bitcoin Hex would they get?
So if you claim the first week, and let's just call it the first day, then you're going to get a 20% speed bonus. If you claimed on week 25, you would only get a 10% speed bonus. If you claimed in week 49 of 50 possible, you get almost nothing, right? So it goes from 20% down to 0%, the speed bonus. If you get referred, whoever referred you gets 20%. If you refer yourself, because you're one of those smart dudes that likes to do that, then you also get another 20%. So if you claim first day and you refer yourself, you're going to get 14,400 Bitcoin Hex for every one Bitcoin that you have. If you don't if you don't refer yourself, you're going to get 12,000 Bitcoin Hex for every one Bitcoin that you have. And you don't need a full Bitcoin. You can literally claim one Satoshi if you want to.
Gotcha. So is there any like whale penalties? Say you've got, okay, what do we got here?
So if you have 1,000 coins and up, you're going to lose half your stack. If you have 10,000 coins and up, you're going to lose 3/4 of your stack. And all those coins that you can't claim are going to get redistributed to the people that did claim and aren't whales. Well, so actually, it's going to get redistributed to people that stake, whether they're whales or not. So Mt. Gox can't claim. The 2 Iranian addresses that the State Department said no one can work with, those guys can't claim. Can't think of anyone else whose address I've found yet that shouldn't be able to claim, because it's hard to find people's addresses, right? So, if you take someone like there's this stock that just buys cryptocurrencies. They're called investment trusts. And it's run by a guy named Barry Silbert. And so they have a Bitcoin investment trust. GBTC is the ticker. And those guys, when they get forks of Bitcoin, they just dump them on the market and pay the dividends to their users. So if you're a smart person launching a fork, why would you want to give free money to someone that's just going to dump it? That's of no use, right? That's not the mission here. The mission is not to give the maximum free money to people that dump on the heads of the believers, right? The mission is to give money to people that want to hold and believe in the system, right? That's the ideal state. But so in our case, they store their money. So I would just remove them. I'd be like, oh, you guys just dump? Cool. We don't need you at our party, right? Gox, you guys just dump? Mt. Gox people, Mt. Gox trustee, you just dump? All right, we don't need you at our party, right? This thing's made to appreciate in price. That's the whole idea. It's the whole concept of this coin is to go up to the moon. We don't need people dumping it. We need people holding it and buying more of it. And so I would remove the GBTC guys, but I don't have to, because it turns out they use multi-sig, and multi-sig wallets can't claim it all anyway. So we're good. But if they didn't use multi-sig, I would look for their wallet, and if I could legally find its address in like a good legal document, I would be like, yep, you're not dumping on us. Goodbye, you know?
Gotcha. And so for the whale penalty, that starts at what amount?
1,000. So from 1,000 to 10,000 coins and up, it scales from 50 to 75% linear, from 1,000 to 10,000, and then over 10,000, it stays at a 75% missing. So for instance, 2 wallets that can claim, because we can let 3 addresses claim now. You don't have to move into a 1 address. If you have a SegWit 3 address, which is default on New Electrum, Trezor, Ledger, any of those things, you can just leave your money there. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to move your coins. You don't have to switch wallets. You don't have to switch address formats. You don't have to be online. You don't have to do anything, right? You just need to wait till you have a signature tool to copy paste to your offline signer thing and sign it, copy paste it back. Now, that Trezor and Ledger thing is neat because since we're in the ERC20 contract and we're using MetaMask, MetaMask supports Trezor and Ledger hardware wallets automatically. So like a new cryptocurrency that was starting from scratch with a less good platform, they wouldn't have hardware wallet support from day one, but we do because we chose a better ecosystem, right? What was your question?
So I was just asking you about the whale penalty, and then
Right.
I was going to ask you, about how the staking works.
Okay.
How, basically what do they do with these tokens after the snapshot? How does it appreciate? Basically
Yep.
what do they get for holding on to it, for not dumping it, all that kind of cool stuff.
Okay. So cryptocurrencies have inflation. Bitcoin's had, over the last year, 4.17% inflation. 4 years before that, the inflation was double, and 4 years before that, the inflation was double again. Bitcoin has had very, very high inflation since it's existed because that's how it pays to secure its network. Because we're in an ERC20 contract and other people are paying for the security of the network we're running on already, we don't have to burn a lot of money for security. We're getting the security for basically free. Very, very affordable security. We don't have to play a block reward. We only pay fees when we do a transaction, and we rarely do transactions because the whole idea of the currency is to lock it up and hold it and watch it go to the moon. You can do transactions very cheaply in it. It's cheaper than Bitcoin to do transactions on, and it has a higher throughput. But even though it has those nice features, that's not what we really care about. What we care about is the price appreciation by getting supply off of the circulating so it can't hit exchange, by getting the tokens locked up, by paying people that lock up more money for longer lockups, right? So in Bitcoin, if you want to get new Bitcoins, you got to buy mining hardware. So let's say you send $5,000 to China. Maybe they send you some equipment. Maybe it's not already been used. Maybe the hash rate hasn't gone too high. Then you finally get your equipment. You finally start mining. You start to maybe generate some coins to make up for the coins you didn't buy by just market buying $5,000 of coins in the first place. Maybe you end up profitable one day. But you already have a huge depreciating asset sitting there that you can't sell for what you just bought it for, right? And usually when the price is appreciating, half of the profit of your Bitcoin miner happens in the first week. If you get your Bitcoin miner a week late, you've permanently forever lost half of its profitability. That's how Bitcoin mining works. So, and then in that system, when more and more people mine, they actually have to sell more and more coins because everyone's electric bills are higher because the difficulty's higher. So everyone's working harder for less pay. And the only people that make more money is the electric companies that get to sell more electricity. And the mining hardware companies, like selling shovels to gold miners. In our system, the more people that lock up, the less coins get sold on market, the higher the price goes. It's a self-reinforcing cycle instead of the miners being a not self-reinforcing cycle, right? More people mine, more coins get sold, more sell pressure to pay for more electric bills. So in our system, if you lock up a year longer, you get 20% more payout. The base rate of interest is 3.69%, which is never going to get paid. It's very small. It's always going to be higher than that. And I'll explain to you how that works. So let's say that we've got this big currency, and let's just call it 300 billion units, right? Off the top of my head. So of our 300 billion unit currency, it's going to inflate 3.69%, right? So what's about 4% of 300 billion? A lot. Like what, 120 million, 12 million, some large number, right? So that very, very large number of inflation, because we're inflating a very big pool of the whole currency by a very small amount, that makes a big chunk, right? Well, what if you're the only guy staking? You get that entire chunk, even if you're only staking one coin.
All
Right?
12 million bucks, huh?
Well, whatever the number is, right? Whatever 300 billion times 0.012 is, or 0.0369. So if you if you look at that, no one is going to be like, hey, look, that guy's getting 4% roughly of the entire currency for just locking up 1/10,000th of a Bitcoin, one BHX, right? Well, that guy's making too much money. I'll lock up my coins too, and I'll share in that pool. So just like Bitcoin mining, right? Bitcoin miners see, they're like, oh, look, that guy's making money. Let me buy some miners and hope they get here, and then he'll make less, and then I'll make some of what he lost. Because it's a flat pool, right? In Bitcoin, there's 12 and a half new coins every 10 minutes. And in our system, every week or every day, depending on how the developer decides to finalize it, because some of our functions are going daily now, I need to get a word from him whether they're all going to be daily or only these ones are going to be daily, right? So right now, we'll just call it weekly. Every week, you're getting, a 50th of 3.69%, right? And then that compounds over time. So every time there's a new payout, the whole currency is a little bit bigger. So the next iteration of interest is a little bit more, just like a normal CD, a normal bank, sure. Right? So the point is, if you lock up your coins early, let's say I can get 50% of all Bitcoin coins to claim. Well, half of those coins are going to get, the unclaimed ones are going to get redistributed to the people that were in the staker pool, which means that on average, people in the staker pool are going to get 2x their stack because they're going to get all the coins that weren't claimed. Like Satoshi's probably not going to claim, right? The guys with multi-sig wallets can't claim. The Mt. Gox guys can't claim, right? And as good as I am at marketing, it's hard to reach everyone everywhere on week one. And then if they don't claim week one, their stacks just start disappearing 2% every week until they don't have any left. And those get distributed to people that did claim. So if you think I can only get 25% of people to claim this coin, so let's say I only get 25% of the entire Bitcoin ecosystem to claim the coin, that means that 3/4 of all the coins in existence that were unclaimed are now being paid to people that staked. That means you're going to 3x your stack, right? So on average, now if you staked for longer, you're going to get bonus shares, 20% more shares, and that's going to make other people that stake less long get paid less than you, and you're going to be taking from them, right? So if you stake a whole year and you get in all the bonus periods of all 50 weeks of the claim phase, you're going to be making, 20% more than you would have otherwise, and that's coming out of the pockets of the people that staked less long. Now the question is, how much money are you going to make? Well, that's a good question. What's the price of the coin? I don't know, right? So depending on what the price of the coin does, every single metric is made to take supply off the market and keep it locked up. You stake for, it's the only system in the world, the first system in the world, where you get paid more for locking it longer. And if you try and eject early, so if you've got a master node or a staking coin, you can eject whenever you want. Oh, China's going to ban it, dump it, right? In this system, if you're locked up, boy, you're staying locked up. Because if you unlock early, you pay a fee of half the periods that you should have stayed locked up to the interest pool, 25% of the... So if you locked up a year and you only serve 6 months, you're probably not going to have a penalty. You're going to get a penalty, but it's just going to be paid for by the interest that you already earned. But if you lock up a year and you only do like 3 months, well, now you owe 3 months of penalty because you had 6 months total. You served 3, so you're going to lose those. And then you got 3 more months that it's going to take what you made in the first 3 and just take that out of your principal, right? And so people that are staked, they're like, yeah, go ahead, eject, pay us. Go ahead, dump it, get out. But you're going to pay us on the way out, right? So there's game theory behind it that makes it the only coin in the world.
This is all game theory.
Pretty much, right? But the funny thing is, like, this is how the real world already works. Just the blockchain people weren't smart enough at marketing to figure it out. So in the real world, what's the most popular banking product at your bank? Checkings account, savings account. Okay, like what's the third one? CDs, time deposits. What do? They pay you more interest for locking up your money for longer. And the longer you lock, the more they pay. It's a no-brainer. It's an absolute no-brainer. The fact that no one thought to invent a blockchain CD, certificate of deposit, time deposit, is just astounding to me. And I didn't think of it for 10 years, but hey, here I am now. I did think of it, and I'm doing it. This is mirroring how the real world works. And it's not just CDs that do it. You do the same thing when you have a startup company. You have a vesting schedule. You as a founder can't just get new money in and then dump your shares. They keep you locked in there and keep you working. They don't let you out, right? And even if you do actually get the ability to sell your shares because your vesting period's over, other people in the company get like first right to buy them, right? So it's like, depending on the contract that you signed off on. So this concept of getting paid more for locking up longer already exists multiple places in the real world, unshakably, right? Like there's $600 billion in America right now of CDs, 571 billion, last I checked, that are under 100,000. Once they go over 100,000, I stop getting measurements on them for some reason, and they're called jumbo CDs. And this is just the United States. So this is a multi-trillion-dollar market that is currently
They're not making
totally unaddressed.
3.69 or 20% either.
Right. And the reason they're not is because the interest rates are artificially low because they can get free money from the government printing press, right? Mm-hmm. So our rates are more realistic. It's still a lower inflation rate than Bitcoin. However, you'll still make a multiple because during the first year, you're getting all the insane 50-week claim phase rewards, critical mass, virality that pays you more the more people get in after you. So people want to spread the word. Referral program, Satoshi, we are all Satoshi redistribution that redistributes the unclaimed coins. And those two other income structures for the staker pool, which are people that eject early, they pay the staker pool. People that eject late pay the staker pool too. So if you have an expired stake and you don't end your stake and no one else ends it for you, right, and runs the good accounting function, you start losing 1% of your stake every week. So unstake when you should, or hope some nice guy pulls you out of the stake pool. And then all of those revenue sources go into the people that are staked, right?
No, this is awesome. I've never seen anything so complicated yet so simple. So basically, it just encompasses everything in game theory as to why you want to hold on to it and why you don't want to let it go. So I guess the simplest question I got for you here is, we're referring a lot to staking, right? So basically, you have Bitcoin. You basically just sign the transaction. So now you know how much you're going to get. So it's obviously going to have to register to an Ethereum address because you're on the Ethereum network. So for them to
you would go to like wallet.bitcoinhex.com. I hope to have demos up soon so I can show people what it looks like. And you're just going to go there and you're going to turn your MetaMask on. You're going to like give it your little password, right? And it's going to, you don't have to use MetaMask, but I suggest it because it's easy. There's other options you could use. It's open source and trustless. So if you go to wallet.bitcoinhex.com, it's going to show you your balance. It's going to show you what the last guy's made. It's going to show you how many people are staking, how many people are claimed, how many people got referrals. It's going to show you all of the cool charts that make this sticky and interesting. So in Bitcoin, you've just got price. In this, you've got price and stake pool and average return on investment and how many people paid emergency end stake, and there's like 10 times as much cool stuff to look at, right? So that's going to be in the wallet. And you're going to have the option, do you want to stake your coins and make interest? Here's what we think you'll make for interest. Like if you were staked right now, here's how much you would have made, right? We can't predict future states of the system. We do know when coins are likely to come out of stake because we see how long they have been in there and when they started and when they committed to, right? So we'll just do a simple calculation. Like here's how much you would have made if you were in earlier, and here's how much you'd make if the system state was in the future the same way it is now, right? It's probably going to be some multiple, right? You're going to make 3x, 4x, something like that, until enough people are staking that the numbers go down, right? And during the claim phase, they might not go down because the redistributions are so large and the bonuses are so big. So you're just going to log in, say how long you want to stake, and click submit, and have a little gas to pay your fee. 7 cents, 3 cents, 10 cents, right? And that's
too easy.
Well, that's it.
Awesome. Yeah. We take a quick little break. Look over here at the comments. I know that it's just been blowing up on the left. Let me see if there's anything pressing, because it'd be great, while we got you right here, man, for questions the audience has, man, it'd be cool to have you address them.
Sure.
Let's see here.
Somebody in my chat asked, you cannot prevent people from copying a good idea. Actually, yes, you can. So I just wrote, since we get 100 new users every day in the chat, and I'm in there constantly, I live in there. I get tired of answering the same questions over and over again, and I get salty about it because you feel like, it's the same guy asking you, but really it's always a new guy. So I've just learned to write
the message right at the top, baby.
Yeah,
Just
I've
read the
done all
pin.
that. I've done everything. They don't want to click the FAQ. They don't want to read the pin. They want spoon fed, at least some of them. So what I do now is I just write, I take the 10 minutes it takes to write a very well formed answer, and now I can just copy pasta. Oh, you want to know how people are going to copy the program? Copy paste. So I did that one last night. So it's fresh in my mind. One, Ethereum is an open source project. And since Bitcoin Hex is a smart contract running on Ethereum, anything that Ethereum gets for improvements, we get, right? So Ethereum has things like Lightning. They have Raiden, Plasma, state channels. We get all that for free, right? Ethereum's working on switching from proof of work to proof of stake. If it works, we get it for free, right? No sweat off our balls, right? If it doesn't work, we stay on the fork that didn't have it, or airdrop to another system that supports Solidity, of which I can name several. So it's great, right? It's like absolutely wonderful choice for for ecosystem. Now, what am I not going to open source? Well, I don't want you to make copies of my project, and I don't think that you're going to be able to improve my project since it's an immutable contract that can't be changed. Since the contract can't be changed, I don't care about what cool ideas that you might have come up with, because they can't go into the contract, because the contract is locked forever. It's done, can't be changed, right? So I'm keeping that unlicensed. And unlicensed software means all rights reserved, which means that if you copy my project and you try and put it on exchange, I can sue the exchange. And they're not going to like that. And they're not going to list you because you're a scam copy of software that you didn't invent and you didn't write. You just knocked it off, right? And people are going to say, oh, well, what if they do it anyway? Well, you can copy the visual, verifiable, trustless code that's in the smart contract. But the claim tool that generates these cool statements that allow you to claim, it's hard to write, and it's closed source. So you can look at the contract and figure out how to write a claim tool to submit claims that will pass as true and give coins, but it's going to be hard for you to do. So we have one part of the system which is closed source and one part of the system which is not open source. And those protect us from copycats. And
There's so many great points there, man. So many great points. It's just like with Monarch, we have some parts that will be open, but we absolutely have to keep stuff close source. Like you were talking about with these different wallets, and you've seen all these different wallet hacks. They go ahead and just publish all their code, and the next thing you know, it's trusted, right? It's on GitHub. They download it. Next thing you know, they have access to the private keys and they lose it. So people have asked me, how come I don't throw all of our code up there? It's like, well, number one, it's the same thing will happen to us that happened to storage. Like storage is the original, basically file distribution on the cloud, the blockchain, whatever you want to call it. And people go out and copy their, basically their GitHub, and then they come up and they say, hey, we're better than storage, but it's their code,
right.
And they don't know how to run it all. They have a bunch of issues and people get hurt.
Yep.
So like with us, if we throw up all of our code, well, then people could actually throw up some kind of exe or some kind of thing that somehow
impersonates you and then steals everybody's stuff.
Exactly, man.
Or dilutes the brand, or like it's right. So
yeah,
in a way,
open source is great, but it's not.
It's not really. It's not really great. That's why everyone runs Windows. Like it's open source is not actually great. It did well in the server space, and it did well in the cell phone space because Google let it do so.
Right.
And it's done nowhere well anywhere else at all. Yeah, right? Do you use
theory,
Photoshop,
man,
or do you use GIMP? You use Photoshop because GIMP sucks, right? So. Do you use Word or do you use OpenOffice? You use Word,
Sure.
So the third thing is, even if exchanges listed it against the law and they wrote their own claim tool, forks or copies of projects tend to do terrible anyway. So Zclassic was a fork of Zcash, which took out the 20% founders reward. Total failure. Ethereum Classic was a fork of Ethereum, which was the more honest one that didn't roll back the chain. Total failure, 51% attacked, no developers, garbage, right? So knockoffs of projects, even when performed by relatively competent people, still fail. So I've got 3 levels of protection against the copycat crap.
I mean, everything in blockchain is pretty much copycat. If you look, every single crypto, for the most part, I'd say 95% of them out there, if not more, are just copy paste of Bitcoin or Ethereum, and they've made a few tweaks here and there. So they're
Yeah.
basically Omni Protocol or they're ERC20, and they've just
Yep.
changed it. They tweaked them. They've done a little something like that. I mean, Tether, people don't realize. They think, oh, it's its own blockchain. Well, no, it's
Nope.
Omni Protocol, which is,
Yep.
basically Bitcoin. I mean, every
Yep.
single thing out there, people just, they haven't wrapped their minds around it yet. They just keep thinking they're doing new things, but really they're just trying to improve something existing. So,
But that's what's interesting about what I'm doing is that it's really the only token I've ever heard of that pays you more for locking longer and makes you actually stay locked. And those two things are gigantic. I don't know of any
I've
other
never
system
heard
that does that.
yeah, I've never heard of anything like
Except
this before.
real CDs in the real world.
Right.
They do that.
In crypto. Yeah, for sure. It's cool stuff, man. So you're looking good, man. You're looking a lot more fit. Love it, dude. So I know you're.
I wish I could keep working out. Yeah, I got this golfer's elbow right here and right here. Right arm's a little bit worse, and it's just sore all the time. And I was lifting every day, and at 250 pounds to be able to do 5 chin-ups, that's a lot. Real, legit, honest chin-ups. No kipping, no jerking your legs around or crap like that.
Most people can't do one.
Yeah, and so I'm still the strongest I've ever been, but I know that if you don't treat your tendons and your joints nicely, they can become a problem for the rest of your life. Now, I'm not exactly a spring chicken anymore, and I'm not looking to have a bunch of extra pain for the rest of my life just to have slightly larger musculature. And like you said, you can still swim and stuff, right? So, I guess I'm on week 2 of like taking off, and there's a couple things I can do to adjust my form, like get my arms tucked in a little bit more for my bench, and when I'm doing my chin-ups, don't curl these so tight to fight to get that extra. Just keep it cleaner, and then also use a band to compress this. So there's things I can do to try and prevent this from happening again, but I don't even have the opportunity to do those things until the pain is entirely gone.
No, I hear you, man. Weight has always been tough, man. Like I was always just chiseled until I'd say probably around 30. Then all the meetings, the breakfast, the lunch, the dinner meetings, all that stuff for all the businesses. It's like, damn, I just got fat. And so, over the past
as long as
couple
you're
years,
still getting laid, it's okay. You really start to care about your diet when you're not getting laid anymore. So
yeah, it's just not healthy, man. My blood pressure was going up, dude. I took my blood and like everything was in the red. It looked like I was gonna die. So over the past couple of years, man, I just really worked on my diet, and then I just put in a lot of cardio. And I'm not shredded like I used to be, but I'm fit. And so, it's like with the issues you're having right now, I would just consider maybe doing, some maybe elliptical, some maybe a little bit of jogging, some light weights. So that way you're still active. But at the end of the day, dude, it's all diet. It is all freaking diet.
It's true.
That's where it is. I can work my
And
ass off, dude. I could lift weights for 6 hours a day and then eat like a pig, and I'd put weight on and not get,
Yep. You cannot out-exercise a bad diet. And I tell you, my tendons and joints would be a lot happier if they didn't have to lift 250 on every rep, right? Like, so it's being less fat is better. You've got better selection of clothes when you go to the store. You've got better looking clothes because the most fancy stuff, really, they don't put in the giant sizes.
You live
Girls
longer,
like
man.
it more.
You enjoy all your Bitcoin hacks.
Yep. Yeah.
That's
You actually
live longer, right?
you spend less time trying to buy food, less time pooping it out, chew less, your teeth last longer. It's literally better like every way. So please let me eat less calories one day. Like, please.
We all have vices, man. So what is it? You got food, drink, sex, and sleep. And so if you're not doing enough of one of them, you'll overcompensate with something else, right? So add more of something else, right?
Yeah. I wonder if there's any other cool stuff. So I think another. So we talked about security. We talked about mad gains. We talked about a little bit of price action at the very start.
Signing, staking.
Yeah.
Code base.
Did the chat have anything else interesting? Because
So
we're
let's
already on the stream, so we might as well like knock out as good a stream as we can.
So got a ton of people over here. Let's see, what do we got here? So are you mining Grin? People have asked that.
Grin's stupid. The inflation rate's too high. First of all, they couldn't even gather up 50 grand to pay for a single developer. Okay, so that's first of all. It's a tragedy of the commons. Let's go. So remember I told you I did that copy pasta and I solved the why don't people copy your thing?
Yeah,
wrote that copy pasta. Well, here's the one for tragedy of the commons. Okay, tragedy of the commons means, okay, it'd be great for our city if we had a lighthouse so boats would stop running into the land. Okay, who's going to pay for it? Nobody. Nobody's going to pay for it because it's a communal good. but no one wants to pay their part, right? Okay, well, let's talk about Bitcoin. Hey, wouldn't it be cool if Bitcoin had a Super Bowl ad? Multi-billion-dollar project. Let's have a Super Bowl ad. Okay, who's going to pay for it? Fucking nobody. Nobody's going to pay for it. Why? Because the tragedy of the commons, right? Now, do other projects have advertising? Yes, they do. So for instance, Blockchain has a billboard advertising their partnership with XLM because XLM gave away $150, $180 million tokens to blockchain.info users to get them onboarded into their cryptocurrency. That's a number 9 crypto right now. It used to be a number nothing crypto, right? It used to be way down the list, but now it's number 9. Why? Because they're onboarding new users. Well, how are they doing that? By giving away free tokens. And then those people that are getting free tokens, they buy advertisements, right? So when you have a centralized system with a large enough stakeholder to be cash positive onboarding new users through advertising, you're more likely to get advertising. Bitcoin has no ads. Doesn't have any ads. Hasn't had ads for 10 years, which is, well, I mean, it had the Bitcoin Bowl for one game in, I think, Jacksonville, Florida. Or like, it just doesn't have any ads, right?
It's a movement, baby.
Yeah, it's a movement from 86% down or 80% down now from 20K. So like my point is people say, oh, Bitcoin advertising, great. You can't buy all the good ads Bitcoin gets. We're like, well, why do we have less than 4 million users, truthfully. There's 4 million wallets that have there's 4 million wallet addresses that have over $100 on them.
Sure.
I have more than one address. Do you have more than one address? Most real users have got way more than one address. So how many actual people are in that 4 million? Right. 2 million? Is the average addresses people have 2? It's probably more, right? So there's maybe 1 million actual Bitcoin users. Now there's maybe 20 or 30 million people that have what they think is Bitcoin on an exchange, but that's not a Bitcoin user. They don't use a Bitcoin wallet. That exchange could take all their money. The exchange is a Bitcoin user. They're not, right? So in 10 years, if you can't get more than 2 or 4 million users, your project is fucking terrible. Truthfully, it really is. Clash of Clans has 100 million users a day. The top other 5 mobile games that aren't Clash of Clans also have 100 million users a day. That's a lot of hundreds of millions of users. And we have like 1 or 2 or 3. It's tragic and stupid. Part of what I like about Bitcoin Hex is there is an origin address. Nobody knows who it is. A lot of people assume it's me because I seem to work really hard on this thing. I seem to really care, right? You're not supposed to know who it is, okay? And you're also not supposed to have any expectations about what it may or may not do for you. So don't have any expectations. But I will tell you that if that guy or girl or whatever it is, if that thing is smart and it wants the value of its investment to go up, it would probably be smart for it to buy some ads, right? And it's large enough to actually be profitable doing that if it chose to do so. And in a system that didn't have such a holder, you're not going to have somebody to pay for an exchange listing or to sue like fake coin that comes to copy it, right? Like if you go to bitcoin.com, they're advertising something there that's not Bitcoin. It's called Bitcoin Cash. Different developers, different people mining it, different everything, different price, different ticker, right? Logo looks real similar, right? So why doesn't real Bitcoin sue fake Bitcoin? Well, for a couple of mistakes. One, it's open source licensed, which means that no one has the legal right to sue them for most things, right? There's nobody that owns the Bitcoin logo that can say, hey, you copied our logo, stop, because they used an MIT license, right? There's nobody. So if you want to sue somebody that's selling fake Bitcoin as real Bitcoin, you have to kind of hope that the government does it for you under a fraud law and that the attorney general in a state says, oh, okay, we don't like this fraud, and then serves them a subpoena and tries to fight it. But in a real corporate, like if a company owned the logo, it would be so much simpler to sue them, right? And then you could have depositions and get testimony, and then you could roll that into a criminal case later, but you could at least get started with your own funding in a civil case, right? But no one can do that now because they fucked up and went with an MIT license for censorship resistance. But look at what happened. We got a fake knockoff who owns the .com. How good are you at marketing if you don't own your own .com?
Well, that's one of the beauties of Bitcoin too, though. I mean, it is open. right? So I get what you're saying from a marketing and from an ownership standpoint, but people that, and I get that we don't have the adoption that you're referring to, and I see why you say it's a failure, but we haven't had time. It wasn't something people have really
10
been
years is a
looking.
long time, mate.
Well,
How long's Uber been around, and how are they
but
doing?
again, look how long the internet's been around too. And when you say there's no advertising, I mean, we're talking about it right now. There's different
ICOs
forms
had
of
advertising.
advertising.
ICOs
There's
had a lot of advertising, and they made a
no, I
lot of
get
money
that.
because of
I
it.
get that. But like
But Bitcoin
Bitcoin,
didn't.
everybody on the news, and this actually works to your advantage and to your point. I mean, we got people on the news, you got all of us talking about it all the time, and then more and more people are hearing about it and hearing about it and hearing about it, and eventually I think it's going to click, and then people are going to start using it. And I realize that you're saying, well, it's been around 10 years, it's failed. But
I get more users in my Telegram group than Bitcoin does. I get more
sure,
memes made per day than Bitcoin does.
it's because
Every
you're a
person
funny,
that has
entertaining, and
been,
smart guy,
well,
man.
thank you, I
Bitcoin
appreciate
doesn't,
that.
talk, right? So that's one of the beauties of it too,
When
right? It's
Bitcoin
just,
needed defended against attackers inside and out, I'm the guy that stood up to do it. There were
yeah,
no, like, name the top 3 guys that defend Bitcoin: Trace Meyer, me, and Andreas Antonopoulos, and that's it. Like, who's number 4?
Max
Maybe
Kaiser.
Max Kaiser, right? And 5? Can we get a 5?
Well, I mean, you could say Roger Ver, depending on where, where in the timeline we
Nobody
were,
talks more shit about real Bitcoin than Roger Ver does. He doesn't even think
said
real
depending
Bitcoin
on
is the
where
real
you're in the
Bitcoin.
timeline.
He literally says the real Bitcoin you're looking for is this other thing called Bitcoin Cash on a different ticker with a different price that is mostly promoted by my website and by a chat room on Reddit that he moderates and founded.
That's the fork in the
Like,
timeline I'm talking about.
oh, right, yeah, yeah. So the difference between Roger and I is I know what real Bitcoin is. It's over there, and I'm not making real Bitcoin. I have a totally different use case, totally different network, not a single line of shared code, not a single line of shared code, unless you count the UTXO set, the balances, right? So the problem with Bitcoin forks is not what they're named. It's very useful that they're named what they are, right? So if you use Mint Linux or Red Hat Linux or Fedora Linux or Ubuntu Linux, they're all called something Linux, right?
Sure.
If you use Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin Gold, Bitcoin Diamond, Bitcoin Hex, it's useful for them to have Bitcoin in the name because they are related, right? The problem with the brand confusion and the stealing of customers and the dishonesty is what you say after the name, right? Are you claiming that real Bitcoin is not real? Okay, well then that's bullshit, right? So I don't know of anyone else that actually claims that except the Bitcoin Cash guys, and I guess the Bitcoin SV guys. I think everyone else
Yeah,
is
like I
pretty
said,
honest in that they're not the real Bitcoin.
true. Yeah. And again, you look at Litecoin, right? People talk about that as the silver to the gold, right? The test net. But again, if you look at all the cryptos out there, almost all of them are either Ethereum or Bitcoin, every single one of them. But
For
they
the most
change
part,
their
yeah.
names, they do. And they change their names. They do a little this, a little that.
Yep.
But people were asking you about a test net. Are you going to have a test net?
So what we're trying to do right now is the marketing is actually very good right now. I've done a lot of videos, a lot of interviews. The FAQ is extremely nuanced and long. I'm amazed that people can still find questions that aren't in the FAQ because the FAQ has got like everything in there. We've got a white paper outline that answers even more questions. The marketing is way better than any of these other projects started with. So I was there when Bitcoin started. I was there when a lot of other projects started. I know where they started. We're far better off than any of those projects started at. So what I really want to do is get the contract into audit, right? So when you do hard things like build new software and you want to make sure it works right, we're having external security experts audit the contract who have had nothing to do with the contract. So they see it in a different light and they look for problems is what they do for a living. So I want to get our contract locked. So we passed all our internal tests. We haven't passed yet. When we pass our own internal tests, which I hope is in a week or two, we can lock the code, push it to GitHub. Everyone can read it, comment on it, and submit it to the auditors at the same time. And then while it's being audited, I'd like to release the public testnet, the tutorial videos off of a demo. Here's how you claim, here's how you stake. So I've already got a demo on how to make a referral link. It's 5-minute and 40-second long video. It shows you how to get set up with a MetaMask wallet, new address, how to set up your link. If you want to just set up MetaMask to use it for anything and just have an Ethereum address, it's a good tutorial to do it because it's short and production quality is pretty good. So that's what I want to do when we're in the audit phase. I'm pushing everything I can out of the way to get to audit quicker because I've got 2 devs that are like really killers that get stuff done, and they're working right now on demo and getting to audit, and I don't want to pull them off to do other things, right? Like I'd like to get the FAQ hot linkable like Wikipedia, so that you can just say, hey, this is already answered. Instead of having to screenshot it, you could just link to the like hash, like the little hashtag thing, the header. I don't have that implemented yet, right? I want to do literally a video explanation for every single benefit and feature in the whole site. So you're going to see benefits and features, and then you're going to see a video of me for every single one, right? So every single thing I say is a good thing about this project. I'm going to tell you why it's a good thing if you want to click the link. So I kind of want to do that stuff while we're in audit, pretty much.
Awesome, man. Cool. So what do you think about, I guess some of the other cryptos out there, right? A lot of people have been hitting me up on the left. I know we're talking about yours, but since we've got you here.
Grin has too much inflation. The inflation's insane, which is why I think it dropped like 85% or something like that. It's closed source, not closed source, but it's like less open source, venture capital funded, other Mimblewimble implementation, which is basically a new anonymity coin that uses Mimblewimble instead of like chain signatures. I can't remember what those are called when you use a bunch of signatures out of a pool to sign something. It's not chain signature, something it might be. Ring signature, there it is. So Monero uses ring signatures, and Mimblewimble uses something different. And they're just basically two different systems that give you anonymous currencies. So Grin is one, Beam is the other one. Beam had a critical vulnerability when it launched, pretty much, within like couple days of launch. I think they fixed it. I don't know. I'm not excited about them. All of the new inflation sucks. And like the problem with all of the privacy coins is no one actually needs privacy unless they're buying drugs in the darknet. And most people aren't buying drugs in the darknet, so they have low volumes. So the amount of money that comes into crypto from speculation is much, much higher by a degree of like 10 or 20 than the amount of darknet purchasing. And the darknets come and go as well. So to speculate and get rich on a anonymity coin is way, 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 way harder than speculating and getting rich on a speculation coin. Because speculation will always, the dreams and the fantasies of whatever crap the speculation coin is selling always pumps harder than the reality of getting actual adoption, which is what anonymity coins require. Especially after Zcash just died. Like Zcash just died forever, so everyone knows that you've got an anonymity coin. Well, apparently that doesn't pump anymore. So if Zcash had done better, then maybe anonymity coins could pump off of non-utility.
Sure, and then of course, Bitcoin's going to be adding that, and probably Ethereum one day.
I don't think they will. I don't think Bitcoin will. I don't think
probably
they
a feature. No.
Well, so here's my take on it. Why doesn't Coinbase list XRP? Because they don't want to get sued because it might be a security and they're not a securities dealer. Sure. Okay, why don't they list Monero? Because people actually use it on the darknet, and it's bad press if they have to catch a lawsuit for someone that bought Monero off of them and then used it for something bad. So like Coinbase uses tracking features, and they will ban you after you bought your coins. So if you buy coins from them and you spend them someplace they don't like, they ban your account, right? So do you think Coinbase would like it if Bitcoin became an anonymity coin, and then now they have to start fielding subpoenas and bad press because they might be selling a token that someone's using on the darknet? Now they listed no, they don't want that, right? So we could barely get SegWit, which was a bullshit feature. Like what exactly did SegWit do? It let us use the blocks more efficiently, and it let us have transaction malleability fixed, and that's it. Like it didn't add anything controversial. It made the system work better. SegWit was not a controversial add-on. It was an easy add-on, an intelligent add-on that had been on the roadmap for a while. If you think and we barely got that. In order to get SegWit passed, we had to lie and say that we were going to allow 2 megabyte blocks for the miners to start signaling that they would support it. And then they supported it. And then we never gave them the 2 megabyte blocks. We reneged on the deal. We said, thank you for the SegWit. We appreciate you giving us the first half. Now we're not going to give you the second half, and we're not going to give you the 2 megabyte blocks. And so we don't have 2 megabyte blocks in Bitcoin, right? So we used a shady trick using UASF by threatening to Sybil attack the network and have the network fork because we just wouldn't support the 2 megabyte blocks. So we had to threaten them with UASF, and we had to lie and say that we would give them 2 megabyte blocks after they gave us SegWit. We had to use 2 lies that they're not going to fall for again just to get SegWit, which was non-controversial. How do you think it's going to go when you want to get a controversial thing rolled in that actual users like exchanges don't want? They don't want Bitcoin to be anonymous. It doesn't help their public relations, right? And the volume that comes from it is garbage anyway, because the darknets don't buy that much. So you ain't getting that shit. You're not getting confidential transactions in Bitcoin unless you can explain to me what's different now from why we had to lie and cheat and steal to get SegWit passed.
No, you got a lot of great points there, man. I'm just saying in the roadmap, when Bitcoin Core was talking about it, they had talked about possibly adding a privacy feature to it. So
I would be happy if they did, but I just don't think it's going to happen.
Just like with Zcash, you can have your privacy turned on when you send it to Coinbase, but once you get it to Coinbase, again, you don't have privacy on the way out. So some people don't know that. So
well, I think I used to make fun of Zcash for only having 3% of the coins actually using anonymity feature. I think it might be up to 6 to 7% now, maybe 9. Who cares? It's not enough, right? Like,
right.
It's a joke. And they still have a 20% founders tax. And Roger Ver funded it, and he gets a part of every block. So if you want to fund Roger Ver, use Zcash.
All right. And then for people that were talking about, we're talking about speculation, right? So you hit up all the time about Tron and then BTT, right? So you have any thoughts on them at all?
Well, sure. Tron has an airdrop going to it called this BitTorrent token, which I don't know if you've ever used BitTorrent before. Works just fine.
Sure.
The problem's not BitTorrent. BitTorrent works just fine. The problem is having a tracker that tells you where you want to download stuff actually is, because they keep getting shut down. So don't know why we need a token. As long as you've got a good tracker, BitTorrent works absolutely perfectly now. It'll fill up whatever download pipe you got. It'll fill it. So, and the stuff is out as soon as you want it, right? It's out sooner than it should be. So it's I can't think of any reason for the token to actually exist. However, it does, and so it's being airdropped to holders of Tron, and so you're seeing this new token, this BTT token, which has 990 billion supply. It has the largest supply of any currency that's ever been issued in the history of crypto. And people are just going to, every month, get their heads dumped on, because Tron price will pump to get the airdrop, and then it'll dump right after it, right? So the thing that's interesting about airdrops is, if you're airdropping to a coin, that coin will appreciate by the value of your airdrop token, and then the instant the snapshot has occurred, in an efficient market, it should instantly depreciate the value of your token, because the coin used to have that value there, and right after the snapshot, it no longer has that value, right? That's what should happen in a properly functioning market. And so adding that step function of like, oh, I want to get the airdrop. Okay, we're not getting it now. Oh, I want to get the airdrop. We're not getting it now. It's like it's a cheap way for an exchange to like get more trade volume on a pair, because it just causes a lot of extra movement, right? Now you could, to some degree, I've considered launching, so Bitcoin Hex right now is only claimable by Bitcoin holders, but I'm about 50% likely to allow Ethereum holders to claim for one day, the first day. Now, CryptoKitties launched, and part of the reason everyone heard about it is because it filled all the blocks, and it harmed the network. Really
I love how your brain works, man. You're just talking about just total game theory here. Let's just crash the network so everybody knows it was Bitcoin Hex.
Yeah.
Oh, I see the evil genius.
I think it's good onboarding, and I'm not sure anyone's using it for any mission critical life saving things anyway. So if it ends up being good marketing, or you could have just paid more to get your.
You're going to crash the network.
But in day 2, everything will go through, So if we can onboard Ethereum users for one, so I'll tell you why it's the one day. The free marketing from making the fees higher and the transactions slower, if we have enough volume, that I think would be good marketing. The second thing, it would also be good reason for them to go build more scalability, because if I can do it for marketing, other people can do it for evil. So you might as well fix it, right? Every once in a while, developers need reminded that this can be a problem. The second reason,
right before the fork.
well, it would be on the day of the fork, so it would delay everybody's claims pretty much. But I'm good with that. Like, fine. We all play our insane mad games later with a lot more participants because we have so much more awareness. So the other reason, the primary reason, so that's like a side effect. So the side effect is if we fill all the blocks, awesome, we're going to get a lot of free marketing. Now, look, I could be a dick and just pay for that if I really wanted it, right? Like if it happens, I'm okay with it, but I'm not going to be a dick and like actually just pay for it and make it happen. That's not legit, right? That's malicious in my opinion. So I'm not going to do that. It's not worth it for me. The real primary reason that it's only for one day is because in order to have a trustless contract, I can only set the exchange rate from Bitcoin to Ethereum once when the contract gets created. I can never update it. The contract can never be updated. It's trustless and immutable. So if you extend that claim phase for a longer period, you'll screw up the ratio of Bitcoin to Ethereum because people will sell the one that's a bad deal and buy the one that's a better deal, right? So you really only want to, unless you can update that exchange rate to keep it honest, which is a threat vector because whoever's setting that rate could lie about it. I can only really do it for a day, pretty much, and still feel comfortable about the fairness of the ratio between Bitcoin and Ethereum claims.
Gotcha. People were asking about Electronium quite a bit. You have any thoughts on Electronium?
Isn't Electronium that fake security coin that's really Dogecoin dark that has been 51% attacked, or?
I think they do like the cloud mining on the phones or something like that.
Maybe I don't know. Yeah, not ringing a bell.
I never got into it, but
well, so what's the one that used to be Dogecoin dark? I thought that was Electronia. Let's take a look. No, Dogecoin dark turned into Verge. My bad. I don't know what the fuck Electronium is. I have no idea.
I remember that Electronium was getting kicked off of some of the stores because they had some kind of mining feature in it, I believe. Right. But I never really followed the project too much. So,
yeah, sorry guys, I have no idea what this coin is.
Yeah, on the channel I try to cover the projects people ask. Now, it seems like a lot of people are asking about that right now. They're also asking about IOST. I don't know if you guys follow that. And as far as Tron's blockchain itself,
I mean, Tron just has I guess good marketing. So the thing is the crypto is kind of isolated geographically. So I have most of my viewers and hits in the United States, UK, Canada, English speakers. There is a giant bunch of degenerate gambling, FOMO loving Asian folk that just absolutely love gaming and gambling, and they buy these tokens I've never heard of, like Bitcoin Cash pumped in Korea hard, right? And I have no idea why they're doing it. I can't talk to them. I don't know what the hell they're talking about. They don't come in my chat room. I never see funny Asian characters in my chat room. I think in order for the project I've founded to get the scale that it needs, we actually have to start reaching out into that populace and figuring out what's going on over there. So we're going to need to get a Chinese translation, at least, right? Probably a Korean translation, and open up some alternate channels to onboard those guys, because right now I'm not seeing any of them, and I know they play the game, right? Those are all the guys that are buying Tron, I think, right?
I mean, Tron, people were kind of bashing it, or people love it or hate it, right? But the thing is the blockchain is essentially Ethereum with just DPoS, right? So we know Ethereum works, we know DPoS works, it works. So, congratulations, you have Ethereum with delegated proof of stake. So that's from my research what I found, and Justin does an amazing job at marketing it, and he's getting adoption. They got 35 out of the top 50, apps, on ETH Tracker or on App Tracker, for the, I guess all blockchains. But again, most of them are gambling and a few more games, stuff like that.
I don't trust the gambling metrics, right? I think the gambling metrics are gamed. So I think that gambling sites do better if they rank higher in most popular gambling site. And then owners of gambling sites gamble on their own sites to get higher up the ranking, is what I think happens.
They wash trade on their own blockchain. A lot of them do. So they can just pump the volume on their own chain. So, you got market makers on exchanges. Well, you can do the same thing in your chain, make it look like you have more users than you really do. So they've been accused of that as well.
It's just easier to hide it on the chain, because you don't, if you try and do it on an exchange and you see lots of volume and the price doesn't move, you're like, all right, this is bullshit. But on a gambling site, if you see lots of volume, there is no price to move. You just see volume, so you can't detect it whether it's fake as easily or not. So I think you're more likely to get fake volume on an off, a I think that exchanges have less fake volume than gambling sites, in my opinion.
Gotcha.
I'm not an expert in gambling, so.
Any thoughts on iOS T at all?
I don't have any.
Cool. I've got another live stream at 1 p.m. I give away money. Yeah, every single one of these episodes, I always give away $100 of Ethereum. So I know you don't.
You guys
want
to go to his channel, dude? I could stop streaming on my channel so you could give away your secret codes or whatever on your side. And everyone can go to you if that works for you.
Yeah, I'll give away $100 on yours too. Why not? So at the end,
Up to you, man.
Yeah. So I'll give away $100 on mine and $100 on yours, and then I give away
Nice guy.
$250 to two different people for downloading the Monarch Wallet app. So
It cost me about $100 to have my my timestamps done every video. So he's like, I lose $100 too, but it's to a smart guy getting timestamps done.
yeah, well, we created Monarch so people have a decentralized wallet with fiat on ramps and off ramps. This week they'll be able to collect, interest on their crypto. It's like a decentralized, awesome exchange all in one place.
Do you guys take credit card?
Yeah, you can do credit card, you can do bank account, and it's decentralized, right? So you have to KYC, obviously, because we have a broker dealer license for the actual hooking up of your bank account or or the credit card, because it's fiat to crypto. But as far as storing your crypto, sending it, receiving it, all that's decentralized. We don't even have your email address. We don't know who you are. It has, a portfolio tracker in it, has all the news in it, has your private seed, your private key, all that kind of stuff. And again, your fiat on ramps and off ramps with our broker dealer, plus interest, which is coming, loans, which is coming, all in the interest part this week with Celsius. And then that's our partner, Alex Mashinsky. Awesome dude. Created VoIP, like what we're using right now. He created. He's just an incredible dude, super smart.
You don't run out of things to add. You've got almost all the things.
You haven't seen everything yet. So it's going to be incredible. I mean, anything and everything you could possibly ever want to do is going to be right there in the palm of your hand. So you can go anywhere in the world, buy a cup of coffee. You could be collecting interest on your money. You could be, basically buying indexes, ETFs, your retirement account, anything you could possibly ever want to do financially right there in the palm of your hand. You need nobody but yourself. And anywhere you go in the world, you have access to it and nobody can turn it off. So it's like a true, just, powerful tool for people to be able to go anywhere in the world and control their dynasty, their finances. That's why it's called Monarch. They think, they don't understand Monarch. That's them. They are their king. They are their queen. They don't need somebody to tell them how much money they can take out of their bank or where they can use their money or how they can spend it. Anywhere they go in the world, they can use it however they want. And it's going to give them access to anything and everything financial. So it's, it's mostly funded by me and my co-founder. And so, we haven't been, trying to raise money or anything like that. So it's just go out there, download the wallet for free. We have bounties all the time. So that way they can actually earn, free tokens. I guess it's not free if you earn it. You have to, like or comment or share or something like that. But, it's just a way of giving back, man. And so with this crypto here, we give away Ethereum on all these channels and shows. So that way people can actually, especially like in Venezuela, man, it's really touching when you're able to see them use the Monarch and, basically be able to pay for something that they couldn't. And some people are in horrible positions. And it's awesome.
I'd love to see Venezuela get fixed at some point. I mean, that's a lot of people to be in a bad spot for multiple years. Like in the year 2019, it's like, man. Thought humanity was better. It's going to take the people into
revolt against the government. At a point like that, I mean, what else can you do? I mean, the government's just stepping on them. They have to, at some point, stand up.
It's pretty rough, man. It's pretty rough.
Horrible. Freaking horrible, man. So, anyways, man, unless you got anything else, I'll let you go. I have my next live stream at 1 o'clock where I pick all the winners.
It was good talking to you, bro. Have a great night.
Brother. Yeah, stay on afterwards. I need to talk to you about that other thing.
All right. Later, bro.